Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase. This is the episode where we put these to use. I have 8 of them because if you want to launch 6 rockets a minute, I think the best you can achieve with an individual silo is just shy of a launch per minute. So if you want 6, you need slightly more than 6. So 8's a nice round number. We are going to go with 8. Now, I am just under the Make Everything factory so that we can get any bits that we might require without having to run backwards and forwards. We'll make a blueprint of it and then we'll be able to stamp that down. So that's what we're going to do this episode. Before we get into it, let me just show you the finishing of our builds for low density structures. I changed this around so there's only 1 loading and 5 unloading. It's just there's so much material that gets put here that it's safer to have more boxes for unloading. So it's not the speed that we're worried about, it's just the volume capacity. So that's why. And I've changed the, I don't know if we can actually see the set amounts from here. No, probably not. But I've changed the set amounts. So steel we reorder when it's when we have less than 1 train's worth. For copper and for plastic, it's only a half, so not a full. And that's fine. It seems to work. It gives us the numbers we need. However, I also found the steel demand was too high. So I had to do a bit of an enhancement to steel. The exit for the iron is now up here, and we have 6 steel trains and 6 stackers for the steel. Oh, speaking of which, we've added in, of course, the additional priorities for rocket fuel and the low density structure. So the rocket fuel is drawing off our supply, just like plastic does, and this just comes from our one source of low density structures. Now the satellites, very simple little build that we did last time. I've finished it off here. I decided, for the same sort of reasons as the low density structures, having a second platform for delivery of product is good, especially when you notice this. So these ones over here remain full and these ones get used first. It doesn't really matter. The trains will leave if they're not being emptied, so I'll eventually get to some sort of equilibrium, and maybe these will never get used, but you know, maybe then there'll be one disaster where there's a hold up and they will get used, so that's why it's there, I guess. We only have 50 robots and they can manage, so I'm not going to change that, and we get sort of over our 6. I mean, this is 5 seconds, so it's not really a big deal. The big deal in getting satellites to run as fast as you need is to not have 1 input, because the numbers that have of product that has to get in there, 1 stack inserter can't keep up with the 5 seconds that this in theory can run at. So hence I've got all these major products going in individually. And this is a direct feed of the radars. That probably doesn't actually need to be a stack inserter, it could be a blue, but never mind, it's a stack inserter now. So this is a fairly efficient build, and yeah, it didn't take particularly long to fill our 121 with 80 satellites. So yes, when we do our test, we will be slightly buffered, but it will still be quite impressive to blow this away in a single episode, and declare our intentions, if you like, in terms of science targets, which is all very exciting as well. So yes, let's get back to this episode. So obviously what we want to do is whack those in there for starters, so that saves a huge amount of resources. Then what I'm thinking is, again for the same sorts of reasons just outlined, to have coming in from the top. These can't rotate, can they? No. We're going to have 2 rows of 4. So we'll have some with it coming in from the top and some with it coming in from the bottom, in fact. So I might have to make 2 versions of this. But one stacker stack inserter is, it's roughly 30 that it can move a second, and you need to move 714 objects. So if you divide that by 30, it's 23 seconds. So one will move enough product in the sort of time that you need, but it can only pre-buffer with a maximum volume here of 400. I'd like it to pre-buffer enough to actually launch the rocket, and that would be 2. So I'm going to use 2, even though yes, we are being slightly wasteful, but we're only being wasteful 3 by 8, 24 inserters, and I mean we've got some UPS to spare at the moment. Not that we want to waste any, but yes, I think that is one thing that we will do. Now, so I'm going to have obviously then the product for this coming in the top. I am thinking that in the middle we will have our requester for the items that are going to get sent, and for that we will actually need to use filter inserters, because I'm going to set a filter so that we can control what is put on. Although, do I need the filter inserters, or do I just control what the requester requests? Maybe I just do it at the requester level, and then I can just use a blue inserter. And then of course do I need it to be purple to get rid of the science? No, I probably can just use a passive here as well, and that one is a stack inserter, and that's to get rid of the science. So we've got 1,000 science to move at roughly 30 a second, which of course 33 seconds, it's less than a minute, so one is fine for getting the space science back off the rocket. So that's the basic idea. Now obviously we want to surround this baby with some nice friendly snuggly little beacons to keep it warm and cozy. Let's get 20 beacons, if it will let me do it. There we go. Just come up here into the logistics zone, or take all this nonsense off me that I was carrying too much of, and hopefully deliver me some beacons while we're about it. 1010, cool. Back down to the design. So there is too far away, there is close enough, there is close enough, there is too far away. That's as far away as we can be. On the other side we can go there, but there is too far away. So we can follow this down the sides. There is okay, there is too far away. But we can go there. Let's just do the down on this side. There is too far away, there is close enough. Because we're actually only one tile away there. There would be too far away. And actually, I'm out of beacons. I don't think another one here. Let me grab some more beacons. It's a slightly odd shape. I accept that. I don't think there's any way of squeezing another beacon in here though. So we'll run with our slightly odd shape. At least it is pseudo-symmetrical, so we'll have kind of a well, the one on the other side, is it going to be... I guess it will be like that, won't it? That's up one. guess you can dig up a rocket silo. It's not all that hard, it seems. Anyway, so yes, that's where that one will go, and this side will be slightly closer to this side than that side. Otherwise, I would have to. Is that going to worry me? I mean, I can make it symmetrical if I really wanted to push this out one, and then put a space in here so that we have that space, and we'd need a space up there as well. But this will be slightly more compact, which might be beneficial. Anyway, that's by and by. So these guys need to request in what's the first product? Rocket control unit, and let's go for 360. Because 714 is all you need for a single launch. Actually, it's not going to keep the type, is it? I shouldn't have bothered with that. So rocket control unit, low density structure, 360. Are we not? See, oh, we don't have any in there at the moment. And you are, of course, rocket fuel, also 360. Just hover over them to check. So we have each of the products with enough to launch the rocket. We have space science coming off, and we have a blue chest that will... oh, we need power, of course. Let's start with it inside. So that would basically mean that you'd have connecting power with the second one for the rest of it, and then the final one might have to have like a finisher inside just to keep it nice and tidy. Something like that. And we need wire coming in to the blue chest that says set requests, because that's where we will get our request from. And that is basically what I want. Maybe what we can do is we're outside build zone. No, we're not outside build zone. We can move to be outside the build zone. Let's just pick up all this trash. How are we going for time? We're going well, because this is going to be exciting. Next episode is going to be the launch episode. So we have to get this done this episode. So what I'm thinking of basically... Oh, alright, robots, stop. You've done your thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. With, as suggested... Oh, maybe we just grab this guy then. Their robots are probably going to steal it. Be nice if you could kind of tell something, pick up with my robots only. Oh, and I've done my usual and forgotten to put speed modules in the beacons. That's all part of the fun of doing these builds with me, isn't it? Okay, so we are going to want a bunch of roboports up here. in doubt, use ghosts. And what I'm thinking is we'll bring rail in as close as we can to this. Basically want the stop to be at a point where, well, let's just slap down one of those guys to start with. So 1, 2, 3. So here, and we probably only need like one. Well, just as like a demarcation of where each of the carriages are. Let's do that for now, and yeah, I might use those. That's all that guy ever was for. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Okay, so that's at least, we want to go one wagon closer this way, basically. Which would mean that I want to go probably want that much distance, right? So this would mean then that I threw away these slightly prematurely. Why don't I put my robots back in for a second? Hopefully they'll build out this bit. Yeah, alright, stop now. You can stop, guys. Thanks. Okay, so now that is a unloading point, and that one is not. We want to move sort of a tile further, really, don't we? We want to move to about there, which is 1, 2, 3, which is probably impossible because these things insist on being in certain places. 3 or 4 further. 1, 2. There. So you're now there, which is directly over that. Just lining up where the trains will unload for optimal efficiency of loading up these. If it wasn't entirely clear what I was doing in my sort of befuddled way. So that, oh, I didn't want it to pick up the rail. No, right, whoops, that's the icon. I don't care about the icon. No rail. Thank you. Now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's kind of perfect. That's really close to there, and that one is really close to there. So 383 is like the perfect size for these trains. So then what we want is a train that will be about here coming in. So it's really close, and then we can do our sort of interweaved unloading kind of stuff like this. Something like that, where, you know, they each have a passive provider. Etc. And then one more. So that's the 3 products to launch a train. And this one is just, it needs a stop as well, of course. That one needs a stop. This one needs a stop. And it's the same sort of deal, etc. You get the idea. I won't fill it out. So that is the top. Now, how far does that extend? That extends partly into the middle. Okay. That might work perfectly, actually. So in the middle, what we can do is that reaches. Oh, this is working better than I could possibly have imagined. You just don't know. You don't know what's going through my mind at the moment, but I am so excited by this. It's just brilliant. So basically, what I'm going to do, I'll give you a bit of a hint in just a second. 4 here, these guys coming in down below, and then these, each side will be fed by its own separate network, just missing out this one track. Now the only thing is, can I get 2 guys in here? I don't think I can. That's the one thing that's gonna, yeah, it needs too much room if I do that, but there's no reason why we can't have one come in from the left, one come in from the right, because these are going to be little trains, little tiddly trains, like a 1, 2, 1s. One train for components, one train for the space science. Now I might actually leave a gap there just so they don't fight over going through each other's station. I didn't bother with the oil, but it's probably a good idea. So yes, that is it. That is basically it in a nutshell. That is what we are going to do. Well, now we just need to echo this out. What's that? That's something I don't need. So let's just grab this bit. Okay, 1, 2. So that's where that goes. Then, what did I do with that? What do I need that for? What do I need that for? I'll use this. Then we can, oh, I wonder if this can actually be reversed. It probably can't, but let's just see what happens if I grab that, tick, and then I try and rotate. Oh, you thing of absolute beauty. So we can do that. Then we can grab this. Now the problem with this one is when we rotate it, it now has the stations at the other end, but if we do that, it now has the stations at the right end, but it's upside down. That, oh no, it wasn't upside down actually. It's around the right way, so that is absolutely perfect. I want this to line up. I believe that lines up. Trees away. So the only thing now is, do we enter and exit, or do we enter and exit? And for this, we probably can just enter and exit. I could enter and this exits up, and enter and exit and this exits down. So it's completely separate access. I guess just for completeness sake. Oh, I forgot on these guys. I screwed that up. Alright. Do I still have it? Yes, I do. Let's get rid of this, because we need that row of beacons. Is there a that guy, whatever it is or was, go away. We need those first, and we need them to be aligned. Okay, if I put them there, I can then clear that blueprint, because I don't need it again. And this is the one for the component trains to enter with. There we go. So guys, that is basically it. So a stack inserter, one stack inserter, requester. Let's just think about this. So it will be 1,000 from each machine, but that's 2,000 in total. Let's have two. Let's have two. On each side, which probably means there's no point forcing. I mean, that was because it was close to there, but the second one is going to come from way over here, so probably more point in having it here. And these two is close to over here, so that they can pick up the space science from over there. And they will be requesting in space science in the amount of 2,000. No, probably 1,000. Actually, probably even just 500. So it gets shared out when there's staggered launches. Okay, so that is the space science. This one is the same thing but round the other way, obviously, and it only needs blue inserters. And you know what? There's just no way it needs more than one per side, and that is passive supply chests, which I am actually out of because my bot stole them all. Well, I used them here or something. Come on, bring me some of those. So, yeah, we slap these guys down there and there and there and there, and call it a design. That is the full design without the frills, fancy lights and runways and all that kind of stuff that can come later. Do you like that one, guys? All we need now is stackers and control, and where are we going to put it on the map? Not there. I was thinking maybe around here or on this side. The only problem with here is that thing, but how big is this whole blueprint? I thought, yes I do. So this obviously doesn't include stackers, and stackers do make things a lot bigger. But if we came over to here, started drilling in until, oh, we can't see anything, so that's not going to work. It's really kind of not going to work unless I use the big zoom. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, for the last bit of this episode, I don't think I'll try and build it on camera. I will, probably, well, let's go and find a place for it, and then think about what I'm going to do. Maybe I will show you building it on camera. Might end up with a slightly longer episode. So if we go to design test, that's roughly where we need it to go. How are we doing for things? 8. So we're half. That's pretty awesome, but we're probably not doing very much at the moment anymore. A little bit of iron, making a little bit of steel. That's about it. Nothing. No wonder it's so minimal. Circuit alley. Let's not go down there, let's keep going straight. Down to, say, here. And let's run out this way. Where was that design? What have there? No. Yes, that's it. So if I use this zoom tool, so we can get some sort of perspective on this design. It's actually not that big, is it? But we do have this oil runoff there, and that iron that could get in the way. How much room do we need at the bottom for a stacker? It's kind of the question. So either there or over on the other side over here, where there's less things to get in the way. And we could actually kind of put it down here a bit, so it's like one side enters and exits directly here and the other does it over here. That might be quite good. So yeah, okay. I do kind of like the idea of that. I have no idea where my little character is. Oh, here? There he is. That's how far zoomed out we were. Alright, so I need my little... I don't need that stacker. The oil stacker might be a bit elaborate for this. That stacker might be what we need. Although, that looks more like how it should work. So I guess I need a 4x2 there, and then it's kind of upside down at that point, isn't it? Although that could work like that. Just a little bit. They're probably a little bit close together if I do both stackers like that. I kind of need I kind of would like one to be the inverse of the other, so if one comes in like that, we then invert it and have the other do that, which we certainly could do. Let me just see if... So if we were roughly there, then this stacker would be coming in. No, that is round the wrong way. It would access in something like that. And the top ones would access, no, that's around the wrong way, that way. Something like that. And obviously I need to move them so it looks a bit better, but that's the general idea. And then we have the space science coming through here, which space science and that might actually be the satellites, but something like that. So welcome back for this final push to the silos. This is where we've set it up. If you have a look on the map, these are not exact reflections of each other because the exit is always on the bottom for the way we drive, but it looks awesome. It looks awesome and is going to perform awesomely. I did have to move these down so that they wouldn't connect. Let me just show you what happens with a RoboPort that's there, see? And that's not what we wanted, and a phone call right now is not what I wanted either, just a sec. And to continue, you do have to take phone calls sometimes, but we'll catch whatever time we can to get this done. Yes, this is why I brought the train right up close, because it has more beacons and things on it. Whoops, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted the beacons. Just make sure that's enough. Get this build beaconed up. Now, right, we're going to need to place extra guys as expected, and speed modules as expected. Since I carelessly neglected to do it earlier, but never mind. Doesn't take that long to whiz through. Now the productivity in these guys is an absolute must to reduce the number of products you need to launch them from 1,000 of each to 714. That's a pretty huge benefit. Not one that you can turn up easily, because the parts are, I mean, relative to the core game, they're pretty expensive to get one of these in the sky. Not that we see them as being very expensive, but that's something you can save considerably on. It's the only way you can build a big base, is to make the most of productivity boosts and so on. Anyway, that should be all sped up. So what happens is we get a 10.4 times crafting speed, which means that you can cycle it through in almost a minute, and the 40% productivity, of course. If you took the productivity out, you probably could cycle it in a single minute, but of course you have to throw more product in then. Now, we need to place some of these guys. Or some of these guys. Take your pick. That one doesn't work. That one does. Four of those. Can't get away with 3, so we might as well do that. Okay, all powered up. Now, we won't need you lot, but we will need you. What's that? That's 500. Excuse me. I'm basically going to put 1,000 bots, that's 700, 1,000 bots in each end, and see if that works out. It should be plenty. 800, 900, 950, 980, so we need another 20. 20. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. But it's probably okay. I really haven't done any maths on how many we require. That's 700. There should be another. Should be more than that. Oh, the only way to really know is to get the thing in full swing and see how the bots perform. I don't really have a rule of thumb that's better than that. But that's the general idea. This will be space science. I have no idea where the space science is going to end up. That's the full facility. Obviously we'll set up the providers, the publishers, to get everything moving. And yeah, there you have it. There is our rocket silo ready for, well, almost ready, minus a little bit of signaling here and there, and of course the publishers, which I'll set up between episodes. And next episode we will launch, we'll tackle SpaceX. We'll blow this one away in a single episode. Can't wait. See you then, guys. Bye bye for now.